Please start the preview.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? I'm so sorry we are 15 minutes late. Okay, I'm here. Can you guys hear me? And of course, we got a delay.
Please start the preview.
But
hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? I'm so sorry we are 15
Evil Dead
minutes
2
late
with you guys.
Okay, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Let me see if you guys... You can hear me, sweet.
And of course, we got
How
a
you
delay.
doing?
Please start the preview.
All right.
But
Jeff?
hello, everybody.
looking
Can you
forward to
guys
getting
hear me?
into
I'm
Michael
so
Briggs.
sorry
What's
we're
up?
15
Evil Dead
minutes
2
late
See you
with you
guys in
guys.
here. Brad Urkula, what's up,
Okay,
man? How
I'm
you
here.
doing? I hope
Can
I
you
say your
guys hear
last
me?
name right.
Let me see if you guys... You can hear me, sweet. And of course, we got a delay. Please start the preview. All right. But
Kind of a delay
hello,
on the
everybody.
audio.
Can you guys hear me? I'm
Michael
so
Briggs.
sorry.
Yeah,
we're
yeah, I had
Evil
to,
Dead 2 late.
I had to
You guys
mute
in here?
the thing. I will say,
Brad Urkula, what's up? Okay, I'm here.
Evil
I hope
Dead
you
2
guys hear me.
is the
Let me
most
see
annoying
if you guys...
main
You can
menu
hear me, sweet.
out
And
of
of course,
all
we got a
Blu-rays
delay.
and DVD probably, because it's just like
Right.
that laugh.
But
kind of a
hello,
delay on
everybody.
the
Can you
audio.
guys hear me? I'm so sorry. we're
Yeah, I had
Evil
to,
Dead 2 late.
I had to
You
mute
guys in here?
the thing. I will say,
Brad Urkula, what's up? Okay, I'm here.
Evil
I hope
Dead,
you guys
I'm
hear
ready
me.
to watch
Let me
this
see if
movie
you
with you
guys...
guys.
You can hear me, sweet. And of course, we got
Looks
a
like it's gonna be
delay.
fun and DVD probably. Because it's just so right now it looks like I got two watches.
Everybody, can you guys hear me? I'm so sorry. Evil Dead 2 late.
Pronounced perfectly better than my in-laws.
I will say, Brad Urkula, what's up?
Sounds
Okay,
good,
I'm
man.
here.
How do you guys
I'm ready
hear me?
to watch these scenes with you guys. You can hear me, sweet. And of course, we got a delay.
You can see, but the audio is repeating.
It's just so right now it looks like I got two watches. Everybody, can you guys hear me? I'm so sorry.
multiple. Hold on, I think I
Pronounced
can.
perfectly better than my in-laws. I will say, Brad Urkula, what's up? Okay, I'm here. How do you guys hear me? Watch these scenes with you guys. You can hear me, sweet. And of course, we got a delay.
You can see, but the audio is repeating.
It's just so right now it looks like I got two
It
watches.
could be my desktop audio. Hold on just a second.
Pronounced perfectly better than my in-laws. I will say, Brad Urkula, what's up? Okay, I'm here.
Oh wow, yeah, I definitely hear it now.
Watch these scenes with you guys. You can hear me, sweet.
This is crazy. Okay, now it should be cleared up. Let me know what you guys think. Check 1 2. Check. And do I have another page up? No. Now it stopped. Okay, so can you just hear just me? Let's see. If I turn that off. Okay, so how's that? Is that good? Awesome. So it looks like I think I'm good now, but you never know with OBS. It's such a finicky program. And I'm hearing the audio back from OBS, I think, like on a delay. Very weird. Okay, so Jeff Meyer says no echo, no playback, so I think we're good to go. But why am I hearing that? That's going to drive me crazy. Oh, I think I know what this is. Hold on. There it is. So I figured it out. It's that preview player that they got in the live control room. You guys don't care about that stuff. Live streaming is such a pain in the butt sometimes. So now I can go back. Let me go back to this window here. I apologize, everybody. And so that way I can see you guys. Okay, so that way I can see all the people in the live chat, actually. So we got 8 watching. That's cool. So Robbie, how are you doing, man? Nice to see you. Did you go to that last horror convention that they had? Didn't one just pass by? And I'm still planning on going to Spooky Empire. That's going to be fun. Michael Rakes, what's up, man? Beth, nice to see you. Danny M, Jeff Meyer, Brad Urkula, Dead Jester Circus, what's up, man? Hey, man, can't stay at work. Just wanted to pop in and say have a fun stream, everyone. Hopefully I can make the Return of the Living Dead stream. That's definitely happening because I love Return of the Living Dead. So are you guys going to be watching this with me? Do you guys have your Blu-rays cooked up and ready to go? I hope so. Oh, it's in about 2 weeks. Okay, thank you. I don't think I'm going to be able to go to that one, the one that's in Orlando. But I'm definitely going to the one in Tampa. So that's going to be fun. And if you guys want, I could post a link on Killer Flicks and have some more people pop in here if you guys want, if that's cool with you guys. And if you guys would rather keep it like it is with just the 7 of us, I'm cool with that too. So totally up to you guys. I got my drink here ready to go. I got my menu pulled up. And I think I'm ready to watch this thing. I went with Mountain Dew today. The decline on the Mountain Dew is a lot more evened out than Monster. So, all right, cool. Yeah, Danny's got his Evil Dead. Okay, so I'll post this link on Killer Flex real quick. All right, so just posted, but we're gonna start the movie, and we'll tell them where we are for the timestamp. Let me grab my remote right here, and looking forward to this, guys. This is gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm gonna post it. This will go public after it's done, but you guys get to watch it live. So, what I'll say to the people watching this after the fact is that this is something that we do once a month with my patrons. It's always fun. And, we just get together, we have snacks, and we watch a movie together. And it's really fun. So, you that are watching this after the fact, if you want to watch this live with me, all you got to do is jump over to the Drumdums Patreon page and jump in the fun. So, anyway, I have the menu up right now. I'm going to hit play movie. We'll count down 10, okay? So that way you guys get time to grab your remote. I'm going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play movie. There we go. Evil Dead 2. I'm excited. This is a cool one. Evil Dead's just so different than everything else. It borrows a lot of those elements from like demon horror and supernatural type stuff, and it just, I guess, like exorcism type horror, and stuff like that. And then it has its own wacky, zany, crazy flavor to it. I guess you'd call it like the Sam Raimi flavor. It says, warning, this film contains scenes which may be too intense. Rosebud Releasing Corporation. Here we go. Turn this down just a little bit. Yeah, Danny, your first live stream. Cool, man. It's been a while since I did a live stream too. This is going to be fun. I always love doing commentaries, just talking movies. And I will say for you guys that are in there, if you guys want to, as you're watching the movie, if something pops in your head and you want to post it there, chat, give me ideas. I'll grab onto it, and we can. Now we're starting off with the. I think this is. It's the Deadites coming. Now, is this picking up directly from Evil Dead? Some people say that this is a remake. Some people say that it's actually an actual sequel. And I think if you ask Sam Raimi, he'll tell you that it's an actual sequel. But they do have some, like a recap section of this movie. And they couldn't use scenes from the original movie because of different studios. So they had to re-record it. And I haven't seen this movie in a long time, guys. So, I mean, there's a lot that's going to pop out at me that I don't remember, I will say. And if I can, yeah, now it looks like they're doing the recap, the quick little recap. But let me know in the comments or the chat when you saw Evil Dead. Like, how old were you when you saw Evil Dead for the first time? Or Evil Dead 2? Or when did you really just jump on the Evil Dead train? I guess that's what I want to know. Because for me, it was pretty late in the game, actually. I think maybe about 10, 15 years ago is when I watched Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 was the first one I watched. I watched Evil Dead 2 before Evil Dead because of, I would just ask people, like, which one should I watch? And everybody would just say, watch Evil Dead 2. Don't even bother with the first one. And I took that as they didn't really like the first one, which was weird. But then when I went back and watched the first one, I don't know, I think I kind of prefer the first one just because I guess it's like, you can have your cake and eat it too. If you want the straight up horror movie, then you watch the first one. If you want your zany, wacky comedy horror, then you watch Evil Dead 2. So I think it's genius for, Sam Raimi and company to do that. Kind of like Texas Chainsaw, I love when franchises, they get a little bit crazy with the subgenres, and they can even Prom Night's a good example too, actually. If you look at Prom Night 1 and Prom Night 2, Prom Night 1's pretty serious, it's a slasher movie, and Prom Night 2 is more like Evil Dead 2, I guess. It does have some comedy in there. So, and I actually like Prom Night 2, and I like that it's so different. Sleepaway Camp 2, there's actually a lot of examples of this. So, and as I go through here, I'm going to read some of your comments too, but right now we got Ash. He is walking in the room. He just did a short little makeout session with his girlfriend, so this is definitely a recap, I think. Now Michael Rake says it almost seems like a reboot, really, because it's largely the same, but then goes gonzo with a bigger FX budget. Yeah, it's like all of the answers are true. All of the above is true pretty much when it comes to Evil Dead 2. And I don't think Sam Raimi really thought too deeply about it as far as like if it's a remake. Sometimes not knowing the answer is a good thing, from a marketing standpoint even. Let's see. Let me go back up here. And if you're watching this after the fact, I do apologize for that technical snafu for like the first freaking 5 minutes, 10 minutes of this thing. It's been a while since I used OBS, because it's been a while since I streamed the last time. And that program, I tell you, if you're not like constantly using it, it can throw you for a loop. It really can. And I almost hate the program. I really do. But once you get, it's a beautiful program once you get used to it. But man, is it a pain in the butt. So, anyway, let me go back up. Let me read some more of your comments here. So Michael Rake says, have you seen this new Mountain Dew Voodoo? I drank one and can't tell what the hell it is. I heard candy corn. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Candy corn. Robbie Sobel says it's a great series because each film has a different tone, so it offers something for everyone. Yep, exactly what I just said. Let me go down here a little bit. To me, the first act is just a shortened recap. Yep, definitely a shortened recap. And I think we're still on the recap. But, even after the recap, it's still pretty much the same type of movie. These people stuck in this cabin and the Deadites come after them. It's not much more than that. I just reviewed Jaws 2, and I was talking about how Jaws, they're really, really simple plots. It's a shark, and it's after these people in the town of Amity. Why don't they get the hell out of Amity? But we're not here to talk about Jaws 2. So now we got our first Deadite coming after Ash, and he's grabbing the shovel. I love the way Sam Raimi directs. And he definitely has his own style, but it looks really like low budget. It looks like he found the easiest but most creative way to film the scene. That's what I love about his direction. There's always his stamp on his direction, you know? A lot of weird angles, you know, he doesn't like have the camera straight on. It's always like at the weirdest angle ever. You know, it's very thought-provoking, his angles. And then, of course, now we're on that iconic camera going through the woods at a rapid rate, which I believe that's like pretty much a skateboard. That's pretty much what it is. A camera on a skateboard just pushing its way through. But then once it goes into the cabin, that's where the real skill like comes into play. And all the transitions. I mean, I love his directing. And this scene right here really sets up what we're getting ourselves into with Evil Dead 2. This is a different movie than the first one from a directing standpoint. But it looks like the type of movie that you could tell they had a lot of fun filming. You know, just because of how creative it is. And Ash is head deep in this mud puddle now, and he's going to be zombified here in a sec. Yeah, there he is. Or not zombified, let me correct myself. Dead-eyed, I guess. Okay, Robbie says, this is where it ends the recap once Bruce hits the tree and wakes up. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell the exact moment. Kind of like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, you know. A lot of people don't know when the dream ends and the movie begins. You know, when you see Myers at the beginning in the hospital. And Rob Zombie actually had to... if you listen to the commentary on that, he clarifies it. Bruce Campbell's performance in this. I mean, when you talk about physical comedy, there's no better than Bruce Campbell. And if you watch the behind the scenes on this too, I guess that cabin, it's still there wherever it is, and it's like completely engulfed in like forestry. And it's not all there, so you really have to you got to know what you're looking for, and you got to be really looking for it to find it. Lori Hackney, what's up? Nice to see you in here. Danny M says, met Sam Raimi at a horror con over the summer and couldn't stop smiling. One of the favorite directors for sure. Yeah, and he seems just like a really cool, down-to-earth guy, too. He's actually going to be at Spooky Empire in end of October, beginning of November, whatever that weekend is. But yeah, he's supposed to be there, I think. I think Bruce Campbell's supposed to be there, too. I'll have to look at the list again to see for sure. Brad Erkla, anybody seen the live musical? Pretty dang great. No, I haven't, but that would be a fun musical to go to. Like, I'm not big on going to musicals, but I can imagine how fun an Evil Dead musical would be. Bo Tiggy, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. He says, the dream starts when Laurie wakes up in the hospital. Yep, that's exactly what Rob Zombie said, too. And I will say, this Blu-ray looks really good. For a movie from, 1987, that's 32 years. Yeah, it looks really good. It's a solid looking Blu-ray. And these just came out on 4K, but I don't know if I even need to upgrade. I mean, this looks really great. If it's a horror movie that I'm not like completely obsessed with, then I'm probably not going to buy the 4K. I love the look of that cabin too. You know, it's really creepy looking, and it's simple. It's just a very simple design, but it works. There's the car. That car is actually in the Spider-Man movies too. Actually, I know it's at least in the first one. That's the one that Uncle Ben drives. So reading the comments again, Lord Hackney says, good evening, better late than never. Yep, better late than never. Evil Dead franchise is awesome. Yes, it is. Very awesome. And I can't believe I jumped on the Evil Dead train so late. And like I said earlier, I saw Evil Dead after Evil Dead 2. And I really like Evil Dead. I mean, if you want a very it's scary. The first Evil Dead is a creepy ass movie. I can imagine if I would have been like a teenager, or 10, 11 years old, seeing Evil Dead, that probably would have freaked me out. Yep, now the sun is going down and the mayhem is about to begin. And no matter where the camera is in this movie, you never know, like, the trajectory of it. You never know how fast it's going to go, how slow it's going to go. I mean, Sam Raimi is just a master at this. I mean, you can tell they took every single scene and just, brainstormed it. Just figured out the best way to shoot it, How can we keep the audience interested? And, Sam Raimi just does such a great job. It's frantic. Evil Dead 2 is so frantic, and I will admit that it was a little jarring the first time I saw it. Like, it's, halfway through this movie, you're tired almost because it's just so frantic. And I will say, Evil Dead 2 is not for everybody. And it took me a few watches to really, really appreciate it. I always appreciated the direction of it, but from a story standpoint, and from, keeping your audience at tempo and keeping them happy, like I said, it gets so crazy that you almost get exhausted by the middle of it. I was exhausted by the menu, so you can imagine. This scene right here is just genius. You got Bruce Campbell running through all these small little corridors and what have you through the cabin, and the camera just right after him. Bruce Campbell must have felt like used up cookie dough after each day on this shoot, because he puts his body through hell. Michael Rakes says, the first time I saw Evil Dead, I saw it along with Evil Dead 2 with a friend of mine in back in high school while we were in JROTC. He literally walked around with both copies on VHS in his backpack. That's pretty awesome. This, and I have like all the great horror movies on, the classics on VHS that I've managed to collect most of them, but I don't have Evil Dead 1 and 2. I just have Army of Darkness. So those are on my radar for sure. I mean, if you want a VHS collection, you got to have the Evil Deads. Now, I believe Bridget Fonda's in this. I think she's at the end. For a while there, I was thinking she was at the beginning, but I think she's actually at the end of this movie, if I'm not... Or correct me if I'm wrong. Is she either in this one, or is she in Army of Darkness? But she has a very small part, too, which is strange. But this might have been, like, one of her first movies. So... And if the quality of my webcam looks a little different, if you've watched my previous live streams, it looks good, but it's a new webcam. Because, funny story, my daughter, she just got married recently, and she decided, she was packing up all her stuff. I can't blame her. She was packing up all her stuff, and I used her drawer, her chest, I guess. My TV used to be on top of it. I can't talk tonight. And she boxed up some of my microphone gear and my webcam and all this stuff and didn't tell me. And then we donated it to Goodwill. So it was gone. Luckily, this mic right here, this is my high dollar mic. Luckily, this wasn't in the drawer. So... But most of this movie is Ash. Ash against the Deadites. Now, Evil Dead 2, I believe, is not rated. I believe it's rated. Now, let me look at the back of this, but I believe the version that was released was the unrated version because they could not get an R rating. And so... that's one of the reasons why it didn't really come to theaters, is because they just released the unrated version. And we all know that when you go unrated, that's pretty much the kiss of death when it comes to releasing a movie in the theaters. Oh, thank you, Michael. Yeah. She's been married for, let's see, what was it? August 17th. So has she been married over a month now? Yeah, she's been married over a month now. That's crazy. They just moved into their apartment here in Melbourne. Officially, like this last week. So I'm very happy for her and her husband. But now we got to ask, she's looking at the necklace. Man, it's been so long since I've seen this movie. And I'm going to turn mine up just a little bit. I had my volume down so that way the YouTube police don't come after me. The copyright police. I got a thing, though, for like movies that take place in the... Ooh, that's a cool shot with the deadite hand popping up. And you got the this stop-go motion. I don't know. I've always been a big fan of practical effects. I just, I just prefer them. I have nothing against CGI, but in horror, for me, I prefer practical. Please give me... somebody just commented on my Jaws 2 review. Would you be for a sequel? Not a remake, but a sequel to Jaws. So I guess it'd be a sequel to Jaws: Revenge. So you could call it like a recalibration, kind of like what they did with Halloween 2018. And I say yes. I have no problem with another Jaws movie. It would be cool, though, if they actually used an animatronic shark again. And I know that there was some live shark footage in the first Jaws, just in that one scene. Oh, here the mayhem's about to start. the physical comedy. I wonder how many takes Bruce Campbell had to do for a lot of this stuff, too. He must have been exhausted. And it's like, it's tough to be a horror fan sometimes because, I mean, look at this performance. This is an amazing performance, but nobody talks about it outside of the horror community. But to me, this is just as good as any physical comedy, like Jim Carrey. And he did it first. But nobody talks about it outside of the horror community. And that's crazy to me. I mean, to me, and this is crazy to say this, something like this, but it's worthy of some type of award. I don't know if it's Oscar, whatever it is, but to me, Bruce Campbell's performance in this movie, I mean, talk about an actor just giving it his all. I mean, pretty much everything of his soul was on the floor at the end of each day. So, like I said, it's tough to be a horror fan sometimes because the people we look up to, our icons, a lot of times they don't get the respect from, Hollywood. So, reading some more of your comments here, though. Let me go down here real quick. 13 watching, nice, sweet. Danny M says, agreed, the practical effects obviously don't hold up, but they really add to the charm of the franchise. I love stop motion Deadeye. Yep, and they play around with their options here. Like you got the head in the vice, and obviously that's the real actress. And they work around it, and I would much rather see the real actress than a CGI head in that vice. But, a great example, too, is like CGI dates itself quicker than practical effects. Like, if you look at movies like, pretty much all those 90s CGI movies that really just don't hold up at all, like Star Wars A New Hope, the special editions. They look horrible now. And the unaltered versions actually look a lot better. Oh yeah, the chainsaw just came out. And I want to talk about Ash more too, as far as like why we don't see more characters like Ash in horror as much. But I want to read some more of your comments here. Lori says horror and comedy are the hardest genres to get right and are always getting shit by the critics. Yeah, so when they do get it right, it should be acknowledged. Because I could watch this alongside something that's not horror and have probably a performance that's not as strong, if I'm being honest. Robbie said, I'm glad you brought that up, Ash versus Evil Dead. I'll be honest, I watched like the first couple of episodes, and I don't qualify my opinion because I think with TV you have to at least give it a few episodes, give it a season, because sometimes they're just working into it. But for some reason, I just can't get into Ash versus Evil Dead like I get into the movies. I don't know what it is. And maybe it's a superficial thing. Maybe it's because I like Ash being younger. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But like I said, I can't really qualify my opinion, though, because I still do need to watch it. Because it might be great, you know? Jeff Meyer says, speaking of The Thing, local theater just announced a showing in October. First time watching on the big screen. If The Thing comes here, I will definitely go see that on the big screen. I have to go see that on the big screen. I've seen Halloween on the big screen like 3 times now, the first one. So, and I believe that's coming again to the theater, and I'll probably go see it. But man, The Thing on the big screen would be amazing. I'd like to see like the first couple of Friday the 13th movies, especially like part 4 on the big screen. That'd be awesome. Reading some more of your comments. Okay, Derek Smith, what's up, man? Evil Dead 2 is amazing. Also love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I get the same vibes. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier, how there's a few franchises that have films in the franchise that have almost like different genres, you know. And Texas Chainsaw is a great example because part 2 is really crazy, really zany, and I love it. Beth says she has tickets for Halloween on Halloween night. That makes it even better. Leela is back. What's up, Leela? She got busy at work. Hey, I get it. I get it. What time do you get off, Leela? I work a day shift. I work my new job. I get to go in at like 8:30, so I get to sleep a little later, and I get off at 5. But my hours are kind of flexible. Like I can go in at 8:30. I can go in at 9. I just have to do my 8 hours. So I like that though, because my last job when I worked at the airport, it was 7 to 3:30 every day. I did love getting off at 3:30, but sometimes getting up at 5:30 every morning was brutal. But seeing Halloween on Halloween night, I don't remember if I saw it on Halloween night. I think the first time I saw it was in 2006, and it was on, I believe it was like on Devil's Night, the 30th. So now we got the scene where Ash is choking himself. And that was a question I wanted to present to you guys. Why don't we have more male horror icons like Ash? You know, to even take it further, like comedy horror icons. Because there is really nobody outside of Ash that's as big as he is. You know, and it's strange. I get, it's weird too, because when you think of horror icons, you think of the bad guys. You think of Michael, Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Chucky. Ash, people always mention Ash. And Ash, out of all those, is a good guy. You know, he didn't ask to be in this situation. He's just put in this situation. And then he has to... he has to saddle up and he has to kick ass. Which he does. And that's part of the formula, I think. And it's hard. I think the formula of Ash is, it's like this recipe that has to have every single little ingredient perfect. And it's a hard thing to pull off. It really is. If you have like a little bit too much of the comedy part, it can get in the way of, the badass part. So he has like the perfect amount of everything. Botiki says, I wish I could have that experience. I've seen it in theaters a few times, but never just me. Danny M says, I'd love to see the older Fridays on the big screen. I've seen the original on a Friday the 13th, and it was so much fun. Amazing crowd effect. Oh, that was... See, that's the thing, too, is every time you go to one of these showings of these classics, the audience, you don't get as big of an audience, or at least I've never been to one that's like packed. I think the one that was the most packed was Jaws. I've seen Jaws on the big screen twice, and the second time it was a pretty nice crowd. I won't say it was jam packed, but it was a pretty nice crowd. So people were laughing at some of the funny scenes, and it's nice, when you go to a theater and there's just like a packed house and you get to really enjoy it. So now we have this new... So this, to me, makes this a sequel and not a remake. Because now we have these new characters showing up. Whereas in the first movie, all these characters showed up at the same time. And I'll be honest with you guys, too. I'm not an Evil Dead fanatic, so I don't even know the names of these other characters. I just know Ash. And I guess that's just how big of a presence he is. But, yeah, I don't know the names of these other characters because it's been so long since I've seen Evil Dead 2. I don't know why. I should be, like, obsessed with Evil Dead because it is a unique franchise, and I do love the movies. I always have a great time when I watch them, but for some reason, it's not like a franchise that I have to watch, every couple months, Every couple months, I want to throw in like a Friday the 13th movie or a Halloween movie or something like that. But for some reason, I don't know why it is. It just, Evil Dead doesn't grab me like those other franchises. But I almost have just as much fun watching it when I do watch it. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird like that. But, watching Bruce Campbell work is just, it's amazing. You got this scene in the kitchen here now, and he's pretty much working with everything that's around him, he's grabbing his head, slamming it on the sink, he's throwing the plate against his head. He just did a front flip. It's just insanity to watch this. This scene right now. I do love this. The hand. Idle Hands, they definitely owe a major debt to Evil Dead 2. Which I love Idle Hands, by the way. Robbie Sobel says, I think you don't gravitate to Evil Dead because you got on the train late. I'm sure those other franchises bring back a certain nostalgia for you as well, which is part of the fun. That is a very, very true statement. Nostalgia does play a big part in it, and I think if I would have watched this back in the 80s, I probably would be obsessed with Evil Dead. But if anything, it's refreshing, Evil Dead's its own thing. So Beth says she took her daughter to A Nightmare on Elm Street a couple years ago, sold out audience. It was so much fun. God, I'm jealous. I would kill to see the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Actually, the first two on the big screen. That's a lot of blood. Yeah, I would, and that's the one franchise that I want another movie so bad is Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm craving a new Nightmare movie because those Nightmare sequences are just so fun. I want that more than Halloween Kills, I think. And that's a big statement on my part. Jeff Meyer, I'm glad you brought that up. Are you planning another 31 Days of October this year? And I am not. And I think there's a few reasons, and I'm sure you can probably guess one of them. But the big thing is when I do 31 Days of October, it consumes my life. it's almost to the point where by the time November 1st comes around, I am just completely exhausted. And I'm almost like, it's almost like a breath of fresh air because I put a lot of work into that, having all these guests come around. It's just orchestrating the whole thing and scheduling and hoping that everybody sends you the videos. And so I thought, you know what? This year has been a pretty stressful year for me. I will say that. So I thought about this long and hard actually, because I was going to do it. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to put it back for this year. I'll probably do it next year. But this year, I think I'm just going to enjoy October. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to enjoy watching horror movies. I'll still be doing reviews, of course. I'll still be doing horror reviews. And I'm trying to think up maybe a fun idea for October that I can do to kind of make up for it. Something cool. But thank you for asking me that. I appreciate that. It deserves an answer. Brad Urkla says, I haven't seen it in a while, but Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. I think... Oh, yeah, I saw the trailer for Brain Dead. I think it was Brain Dead. They showed the trailer for it before this movie when I cranked it up. And that's one I haven't seen, but it's definitely on my radar. Derek Smith, it'd be cool to see a ranking of the Halloween endings. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, actually. I got some things cooking for the Halloween franchise, ranking wise. Then I'm thinking, and I got the Nightmare Biggest Mistakes video. That's one of the next ones I'm recording. So looking forward to that. But right now we are at a war with Ash and his hand. And I wonder how much blood they brought to set for this scene. Because we have the blood squirting out of the wall at Ash. Out of 4 holes, actually. And it looks pretty intense. Pretty intense. And really, at its essence, that's pretty much what Evil Dead 2 is. It's just Ash on display for most of the runtime in this house, just going insane and being under attack by the Deadites. More blood. Every time I hear more blood, I think of Mustafa. God, rest in peace. Now here's the deer. Robbie says, "Are you getting the upcoming Dawn of the Dead Blu-ray?" Probably. Yeah, and I because I did get the DVD. I have that Italian version Blu-ray, which uses a different score. The Dario Argento Presents one, but there's the iconic shot with his face right in the camera. But yeah, I'll probably pick up that Blu-ray. There's another big Blu-ray that's coming out too, actually. Jason Nike, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Did I say that right? Is it Nike or is it Nike? Derek Smith says, Evil Dead has 4 very good movies and a good TV show. Arguably the best resume of all the horror franchises. Yeah, that's a very fair statement, actually. And you can compare this to like Scream, because Scream has 4 movies, and pretty much all the movies are at least entertaining, and 3 of the 4 are good. Like, I don't really care for Scream 3, but Scream 3 does have some good moments in it, some really good moments in it, some intense moments in it. And I do like the Scream TV series too. I even liked the 3rd season. It was pretty good, actually. Robert Kelly says, just got the Child's Play remake Blu-ray today. Yeah, that's the one that just came out. I thought about going to pick it up. I forgot. I didn't even know it came out this week. Robbie says, Drewski, McGillicuddy, and I are dying for your Dawn of the Dead review. Yeah, and I've watched it twice too. And yeah, I will give you a shout out for the. But yeah, I got to put together my notes for it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing that one. I want to make that one special though, so because that is a landmark horror film for sure. I just got Day of the Dead in actually a couple weeks ago too, so I don't know if I should. Usually what I like to do is record my review before I go and watch the next movie, kind of like what I'm doing with Star Wars. I watched Force Awakens, and my son wanted to watch Last Jedi so much, and I was like, well, I haven't recorded Force Awakens yet. But then we both wanted to watch it. We were like, screw it, let's just watch it. So I've watched both those movies. Now I have to sit down and record 2 reviews for Force Awakens and for The Last Jedi. And that's going to be a crazy recording session because I like those videos to be at least 20 minutes long. And so recording 20 minutes means I'm actually talking for probably a good at least 35, 40 minutes. So doing that for 2 movies, I'm going to be exhausted after that recording session. Comic Chop News, what's up, man? Haley, finally home for one of your commentaries. Nice to have you here, man. Day of the Dead is criminally underrated, very bleak and dark. Yeah, that's what I've heard. So I'm looking forward to watching that. And all I know is that iconic scene where the girl's like facing the wall and then all those hands pop out of the wall. So I'm looking forward to figuring out what the context of that scene is. So now we have the other cast members in the house. They find Ash, and one of them's dragging him. And are they gonna? I think they're gonna throw him in the cellar. That looked painful. Now, the Evil Dead, the first 3 are very different in tone than the remake. And you guys would probably kill me for saying this, but I think I do prefer the remake. Just because I love that movie. Like, I really love the remake. If I didn't love that movie so much, because I still rate Evil Dead 2 a good 9 out of 10, that's how much I love the remake. I mean, to me, the remake is a great story. I really love Jane Levy's performance in it. And I'm just like, I'm right there with her the whole way, because she's desperate to get out of that cabin. And because she's a drug addict, they won't let her out. And then she gets infected by the Deadites. And it's one of the most violent movies, especially for a remake. I love that they went there with it, Fede Alvarez directed that. Yeah, man, wow. I love the remake. I think it's highly underrated. I think it would be loved more, even though it is loved. But if it wasn't named Evil Dead, I think it would be loved even more. But people compare it to the first 3. Yes, very good score. Thank you, Derek Smith. Comic Shop News. First time I watched the remake, I hated it, but on second viewing, I appreciated it more. Yeah, I mean, I was hooked in pretty much immediately. And I think that's one of the reasons why I loved it so much is because I wasn't an Evil Dead fanatic. I mean, I appreciated the movies, I liked the movies, but I was really looking forward to the remake from the trailer because I could tell from that trailer that this was not the same feel as the original movies. And I walked out of the theater highly impressed and very happy. And you got some gruesome scenes in that movie, too. So now Ash is stuck in the cellar with this creature-looking dude. I don't think that's a dude. I think that's a girl, actually. And, you got a little bit of hillbilly love in this movie, too, with the guy in the overalls. Yeah, there's some great Sam Raimi practical effects right there. But man, this movie's so zany. Like, I can see how somebody would say Evil Dead 2, not a fan. Because it is, I don't know, it is its own thing, you know? Like, it's very simple. It's just so simple, but completely batshit crazy. Jeff Meyer, anyone else here anxiously awaiting their copy of In Search of Darkness? Oh, yeah, that's that documentary. Yeah. That documentary looked amazing, by the way. And any of you that are in here that haven't heard of In Search of Darkness, I think there was like an Indiegogo campaign. I did a little promo for it a while back, but yeah, look it up, In Search of Darkness. Look up the trailer on YouTube. It looks really good. Probably one of the better horror documentaries out there, based on the trailer. I haven't seen the whole thing, of course, but still. Leela says she's only seen the remake. Wow. That's crazy, Leela. I still think you need to watch these. I would say I definitely prefer Evil Dead 1 over 2, but I think it depends on what you're looking for, too. Which is a good thing. 1 is just a straight up horror movie. So, Leela, you have to watch Die Hard and Evil Dead now. And I have to watch... What's the movie I have to watch again? I forget already. They said July and had to push to October. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Takes a lot of work to make those things. Comic Shop News says, I had a built-in bias due to my love of the originals. When Jane Levy loses her arm was brutal. Yeah. I mean, they really should have utilized the song Raining Blood at the that last act by Slayer. That would have been perfect. And maybe they tried to, and maybe Slayer said no. Who knows? Well, I can't say anything, Leela, because like I said, it took me a long time to finally watch Evil Dead. You know? It just wasn't on my radar. Oh, Monster Squad, that's it, yeah. I'm saving Monster Squad for probably next week. Next week is October, so could be fun. Now, you got the lady in the cellar. Now, this can't compete with the first Evil Dead cellar scene. That scene is so iconic. That's the one scene I wish they would have kept in the remake. Because I know they used it in the trailer, but for some reason they didn't have it in the actual movie. Now, my last commentary, last month, we did... What did we do? Did we do Nightmare on Elm Street 2? No, we did... Friday the 13th Part 2 is the last one we did. And I think I was crunching on potato chips the whole time. And when I listened back at it, it was excruciating. That's why I didn't bring food this time. Man, the practical effects in this movie are just insane. I always have this thing in horror, and they don't seem to do it that much anymore, with like close-ups on eyeballs. Like they just had one right here. And the quintessential scene you always think of is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when the camera is like right on Sally's eyeball when she is being terrorized. That is probably one of my favorite scenes in horror history. I don't know, I just have this thing for eyeballs, I guess. Like close-ups of eyeballs. Give me that and I'm a happy man. Michael, I'm actually thinking about chips now. I had a PBJ earlier, but I'm kind of hungry for some chips. The cellar scene in the trailer was put back into the 2013 remake if you can find the unrated Blu-ray. Yeah, that's right. They did come out with an unrated Blu-ray and I never got to see it. I really hate that this commentary is going to go out there and then that first like 10 minutes of just my voice like overlapping. Oh, so embarrassing. I can already like smell the dislikes. Now, I believe that's what they call like a matte painting in Hollywood lingo talk. You got the guy sitting, and you see behind these boards, you see this like fog. You can tell that was probably a blue screen. I should put on the subtitles. I would know so much more if I put on the subtitles. This is such an uneducated commentary. I will say that. Okay, I got the subtitles on. Now, put yourself in this situation. Let's play a little bit of what if. Like, what would you do if you were trapped in this cabin and you had all these, like, demons coming after you? I'd probably go insane. I probably would go insane. I love Polanski. Like, Rosemary's Baby, that is a classic. That's a touchy subject, too, because of what Polanski did. It's like a lot of people can't watch his movies. And I will say, like, Victor Salva, I watched Jeepers Creepers before I knew what Victor Salva did. And I will say it does. Like, I think I can still watch Jeepers Creepers, but I haven't watched it since I found out. And maybe that's why I just don't grab it, because I'm just thinking, man, what he did was just like the worst thing imaginable. Jason Nike says, Lee, you will love Visiting Hours. Great score and a killer who is very real. Anyone in the chat who hasn't seen I've been meaning to watch Visiting Hours, actually. And I love horror movies that are set in hospitals. Hospitals, it's just an irresistible location. But I'm definitely curious to check out some more Polanski's works, because I love Rosemary's Baby. And I've heard Repulsion is really good. Derek Smith says Midsummer Blu-ray coming out soon. That is one I'll definitely be picking up. I loved Midsummer. That was a movie. That was a movie and a half right there. And as far as like directing styles go, that the whole movie felt like a trip. It really did. And it's cool, to me it's like groundbreaking, because I'd never seen directing like that before. Camera movements like that before. Just very unique. Danny M says the Deadites are brutal, probably up there with Saw for horror situations I would not want to find myself in. Yeah, this is probably like one of the worst case scenarios you could ever find yourself in. Because they don't necessarily kill you right away. They drive you mad first. They fuck with your head is what they do. Like Freddy Krueger times 10. That's Deadites. And I'm at the scene where they have like this ghost-looking creature. It looks like from the game Nightmare. Take a fate card. But he's, projected onto the wall. Kind of reminds me of that face in The Exorcist. A little bit. There's the book. The iconic book. Book of the Dead. Now, I wonder if we've already passed it, but there's a scene where you're supposed to see Freddy's glove in this movie, in the shed. But I think we might have already passed it. Derek Smith says, if you love Evil Dead, you'll probably love Cabin in the Woods, and then it takes a huge turn. Oh, Cabin in the Woods is great. I've reviewed it, actually. Yeah, I actually did a review of Cabin in the Woods with Mother Mayhem, like last year. Damn good movie. That's one of those movies, like, I don't know anybody that didn't like Cabin in the Woods, you know? Very good movie. Very smart plot, too. Michael Rake says, yeah, I was just getting ready to mention Victor Salva as well. Love Jeepers Creepers. Yeah, I think, like, Victor Salva, what he did compared to what Polanski did, like, both of them did bad things, but Victor Salva, like, takes it to another level. Michael Rake says, on the topic of hospitals and horror movies, they bring out the worst fears. Hate isolated hospitals, and I just so happen to be working on 2 different hospital remodels. Yay. Crazy. I work in kind of a medical environment because I work at an assisted living facility. And so we work with elderly. And so there is a nursing staff there too. So I work alongside, medical staff like every day. But I'm more the maintenance side of the house. Oh, so now here's the scene with the tree. Oh, that's a good shot right there. You got the limb like crawling down her face. And this is pretty much a scene right out of the first movie. But the first movie was pretty terrifying. The tree scene. And the tree scene raped her. So there's a scene for you, Leela. But this movie never lets up. It never lets up. So I'm guessing she died because she slammed into that tree. Either she died or she turns into a deadite. See, it's been that long since I've seen this movie. I don't even remember. Halloween 2 is the ultimate hospital horror film, though. Yes, it is. I mean, imagining the scariest horror villain and putting him in a hospital environment, I mean, that's a perfect recipe for a great horror movie. So I love that setting so much that it wouldn't bother me if they did another Halloween in a hospital. If they changed it up a bit, got a little bit more a bit more creative and not repeating themselves with Halloween 2, but yeah, I mean, if they put Myers in another hospital, I'd watch it. I would definitely watch it. Levi's laying on the bed over there, and I heard him snore. He just snored. Danny M says, I always found it interesting that Raimi regrets the tree scene in the original. That's probably why the tree kill in this one is a lot more tame. Yeah. Well, it reminds me of like Last House on the Left when, that's a movie that Wes Craven, he wouldn't watch it like after it came out and everything. But he said when you're in the thick of it, when you're in the middle of making this movie, you're not thinking about how it's going to affect the audience because you're so exhausted and you're just trying to finish the project. And so that's what he was focused on. He was just focusing on finishing, getting the movie done. And, after it was done, and there was just so much controversy because let's face it, rape it's a controversial, even for horror films, rape is controversial. And so the way it was handled in that movie, it's very violent. And so after, there were scars from that movie for Wes Craven. He received death threats. Just his life was pretty rough for a while after Last House on the Left, Plus, he was a young filmmaker. He didn't have this reputation yet. So, that would have been like padding for him if he did have it. But because he was so young and just fresh, it made it even worse for him, because he didn't have the respect yet. And so I can see where Sam Raimi's coming from with that first movie. But it is an important scene in horror history, And to borrow a quote from like Rob Zombie, when he was shooting Devil's Rejects, which this kind of ties into Captain Spaulding, rest in peace, Sid Haig, because there's the scene where they're in the hotel, and Bill Moseley, he was uncomfortable with what he had to do in that scene, and he told Rob Zombie, he's like, I don't really feel comfortable with this. I don't like doing this. I don't know. I'm not having a good time. I'm paraphrasing. But Rob Zombie told him that, art is not safe. It's not meant to be safe. And movies, especially horror, should not be afraid to show the dark side of life. And even Wes Craven, as much as he kind of despised the experience of Last House on the Left, he admitted that it needed to exist. You have to have the dark side of horror, of film, because if you don't, then all you have is just all this nice candy coated, safe art, and that's all fine and dandy, and it's nice and everything, but you still have to have the other side of art. You still got to have the dark side, So I hold that, I cherish that stuff. I hold it close to my heart because it needs to exist. I think it needs to exist. You have to feel uncomfortable from time to time in movies because it elicits a reaction. Hell, I think that's why I'm so obsessed with the Halloween franchise, because seeing Halloween 4 in the theater, and seeing Loomis's reaction to this child that had become possessed by Myers, as silly as that sounds, it scared the living shit out of me. And I've been chasing that ever since. That was the dark side of life, Movies had never done that to me before. Besides when I was a little kid, of course, when I was like freaking 5-6 years old. But as I was old enough to know better. Like this scene right here in Evil Dead, this is some scary shit. With Ash looking like a deadite. And I'm sure Evil Dead 2 probably, especially Evil Dead, the first one, probably scared the crap out of some people. That's why this was given an NC-17, or an unrated, I guess. Derek Smith says there's a chance Halloween Kills takes place in a hospital. The 3 girls at the end of Halloween 2018 could have been headed to one, you'd assume. Yeah, that's actually very true. I would dig that if it starts off in a hospital. I know in Dave McCrae's script he had like Tommy Doyle was actually a doctor. I wonder if they'll actually have... I could see them doing that with Tommy Doyle, making him... through their profession, that's how all these characters in the first Halloween will meet, And so the odds that Tommy Doyle is a doctor, I think, is very high, I don't think he's probably going to be a lawyer, because I don't know if they're going to need... Are they going to sue Michael Myers? I don't think so. So now we're down to Ash versus, I guess she's our final girl. But she didn't stab Ash. She stabbed the hillbilly. All right, I'm going to look up the characters. I'm going to cheat. Hold on. Because you really don't need to know the characters' names in Evil Dead 2. They're just there for a purpose. So Evil Dead 2 has 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb. That's really damn high for a horror movie. That's great. A lot of screaming. She has kind of a funny scream. So I think this is Annie. I think that's who this character is. Annie. Now, I do like that in Army of Darkness, they didn't go this route again. Army of Darkness is a much more ambitious movie. You know, they kept the comedy intact and everything, but they definitely gave, like, I think Army of Darkness made Ash like almost like an action hero. You know, and he had a lot more one-liners. Whereas Evil Dead 2 is more of like a physical movie. Michael Rake says Levi sleeps to the sounds of brutal chainsaw mayhem. He's sleeping like a baby right now. He got a bath before this, so my wife gave him a bath. And, I don't think he's feeling that good either. I think his stomach's hurting. I think Sam Raimi needs to go back and do another horror movie. I really liked what was the I reviewed it even the witch one. Drag Me to Hell. Drag Me to Hell was really good, but it wasn't as crazy. Like she's pulling the guy out of the cellar, and then there's blood just like squirting out. You didn't really get that in Drag Me to Hell. Danny M says the geyser of blood is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. The blood looks like cherry soda. It really does look like cherry soda. And I got the skull-shaped necklace. I'm kind of thirsty for cherry soda now. I'm having a blast watching this with you guys, though. This is a lot of fun. I always have fun with these commentaries. Now, what's coming out at the theater this weekend? Because I don't think there's anything that great coming out. I know next weekend is Joker. I'm really looking forward to Joker. But I don't think there's anything. I might go see Ad Astra this weekend. But what are you guys doing this weekend? Are you going to the movies or anything, or what? Let me know. Code Red Mountain Dew. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like Code Red Mountain Dew. Very, very true statement there, Jeff. That must drive her crazy too. That Ash is just going in and out of Deadite form. Probably driving Ash crazy, actually. Did you like Cabin Fever by Eli Roth? Robbie, I have not seen Cabin Fever. Somebody sent me Cabin Fever too, like in one of my recent unboxes. So I need to watch that one. But I hear that one's a pretty good one too. And I heard they like did a remake of that one recently. Leela's you're getting lip injections. Why are you getting lip injections? You know what? That's what I'm doing this weekend. I'm going to get lip injections. There, I said it. So yeah, I got a stack of movies to watch. Like, I've been planning on doing a Final Destination 3. That's one thing I was thinking about doing for October, is reviewing nothing but sequels. I'll call it like Sequel October. And I'll just review, sequels. So no part ones, just nothing but sequels. And that's all I'll review for the whole month of October. But I don't know, maybe that's a lame idea. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure it out. Don't watch the remake. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard the remake's not that good. You have to watch Cabin Fever, not the remake. Danny M says, anyone else a little disappointed in the horror movie lineup this October? I feel like and Dr. Sleep's not even coming out in October. It's in November, which is kind of weird. That's when I'm going to review is The Shining in preparation for Dr. Sleep. Michael Rake says, I'd love to go check out a movie at the drive-in nearby very soon, but there's honestly nothing playing worthwhile, although Joker looks great. Yeah, I love going to drive-ins. I really love going to the drive-in movie theater. And unfortunately, I've only been to the drive-in movie theater once in my whole life to actually watch a movie. And that was back in 86. My sister was on a date, and she snuck me in the trunk. Like, I literally was in the trunk of the car. We went through the entrance of the drive-in, and we watched Psycho 3 and The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. The original Hills Have Eyes Part 2. This was back in 86, and I'll never forget it. I had such a blast. It was so cool. And it's crazy to me that I've never been to a drive-in movie since. But I guess it's probably because I just haven't had access. I haven't lived in a town with a drive-in movie theater. Or I would go. Yeah, last October was great because we had a new Halloween movie. And the fever was in the air. But this October kind of drags. So Ash is just like, I got to get the fuck out of this damn cabin. Because that's what I'd be thinking. But Joker looks really good. Yeah, the buzz around Joker is huge. Leela says, I've snuck friends in the trunk before. So much fun. It was fun being in the trunk, to be honest. I was like, wow, this is pretty exciting. At the time, I think I was like 13 years old. But yeah, it was cool being in the trunk. I don't know. I kind of liked the way it felt. It was a cool experience. Michael Rake says, I'm a veteran of the trunk, smuggling myself. My folks hid me and my brother and sister in the back of our Dodge to go see Lethal Weapon. That's awesome. That's a classic, too. Tom Atkins. He's in Lethal Weapon. So he's going to the Deadite book now. He's going to figure it all out, and he's going to put an end to these goddamn Deadites once and for all. It's a hassle, though, plus it gets uncomfortable in the car for too long. Movie theater seats are so much better. That is true. That is true. I think it's like nostalgia for me. But, yeah, like if I'm sitting in my car watching a movie, I can see how after a while I'd be like craving like a theater seat. Now, do you guys like prefer to go to IMAX theaters, or do you even care? Because for me, IMAX, I love it, but I really want to make it count. If I see a movie in IMAX, it's got to be something big, Like one of those Marvel movies or like Star Wars. Like I'm probably going to go see Star Wars in our IMAX theater. This is the first town I've lived in that had an IMAX theater. Danny M says, I'll take a break from the new releases and try to see some classics on the big screen instead. I got to check I think it's called Flashback Cinema. I got to check and see what their schedule is for this October. Because they usually do show Halloween. So now Ash is in the cellar. See, I think I prefer it when Bruce Campbell is by himself in this movie. That's just a testament to how great Bruce Campbell is. So she's reading the incantation, or whatever it is, to end the Deadite massacre. You should review Hills Have Eyes 2, the remake. Derek Mears is in that one. Oh, I didn't know Derek Mears is in that one. Yeah, somebody sent me the second one. And I'm planning on reviewing the second one because I really enjoyed reviewing the first one, the remake. The remake of Hills Have Eyes is phenomenal. That's probably one of the best remakes out there. And it's a shame that I did my remake, like top 10 remakes, before I watched the remake of Hills Have Eyes, because it definitely would have been up there in the top 5. Now we have the iconic Ash. He's got the ripped shirt. He's got the chainsaw. He's in full action figure mode. And this is probably, like, Bruce Campbell is in Rambo 2 mode in this movie. Like, this is the best shape he's ever been in. And it reminds me of, like, Rambo 2. You think of the scene in Tropic Thunder. I just watched Tropic Thunder the other day, too, which, God, I love that movie. When he's talking about the difference between First Blood Rambo and First Blood Part 2. He had about 20 more pounds of muscle in the second one. Or maybe 10 more pounds. But you could tell. Stallone really... I remember Stallone was talking... I'm a big Stallone fanatic. But I remember Stallone was talking about Rocky 3. And Rocky 3 is probably his smallest he's ever been. Like, he probably weighed 140 pounds in Rocky 3. You can tell he's really small in that movie. And he said when he was shooting that movie, he only drank coffee. And I mean like 12 cups of coffee a day. Especially when he was doing the fight scene with Clubber Lang at the end, because you want to look as ripped as possible. So he literally only drank coffee, did not eat anything. Leela, thank you for stopping by. It was great to have you over here. Okay, got to go to my pool workout before the sun sets. Enjoy your pool workout, and thank you for stopping by. Take care. Yes, the Hills Have Eyes remake is very brutal. Very brutal. And I gotta say, Leela has been awesome with Killer Flicks. After we lost Dylan, because we were like the trio. It was me, Dylan, and Leela. And then when Dylan passed, it was me and Leela that were, we were. I guess we were like the mama and papa of Killer Flicks. We have our mods and everything, but she has been by my side, like, to the fullest. Ever since Dylan's passing, and she's been nothing but a true friend to the end. That is a Chucky quote. My God. But I just want to say, Leela, you're awesome. Thank you so much. You're a dear friend. I mean that. So shit is really going off the rails right now. The cabin is imploding in on itself. And she only completed the first of the passages. So. I'm getting like some Poltergeist vibes right now. Remember how crazy and frantic Poltergeist was in that last act? Like, Poltergeist is so good. Last year at Halloween Horror Nights, I don't know, Robbie, did you go to Halloween Horror Nights last year? It was the Poltergeist house was such a nice surprise. I didn't even know that Poltergeist was going to be there, and it ended up being the best house in the park, in my opinion. Like, I really loved the Poltergeist house. And so now Ash has gotten the gray hair on the side. He got the rogue look. Because that's what happened to Rogue in X-Men. And the practical effects are just insane in this movie. And he's about to get sucked into... He's going to go in time. He's going to get sucked into time. I don't know how he ended up getting sucked into time. But he does. And then we get the awesomeness that is Army of Darkness. The Deadites sucked him into time, I guess. Man, that chainsaw's awesome. Michael Rake says, I absolutely hate not having a Facebook anymore because I'd love to get in on Killer Flicks. Yeah, we have a blast in Killer Flicks. I can't believe how far Killer Flicks has come. I mean, we have 8,500 members now. And when we started, I believe Leela jumped on the first year. I mean, she was in there when we were like well under 1,000. And Robbie's been with us for quite a long time too, actually. And we grew quick, I think. But the mods, we always, we pre-approve everyone that comes into the group. They have to answer 3 questions. They go through an approval process. We make sure that everybody that gets in the group is vetted. We don't just let anybody into the group. Because we just want to make sure that we're getting real people, first of all. You don't want to get robots and, whatever. Somney, what's up, man? How you doing? Rambo ranking. That's a good question. Because I got some other things on the docket right now. So I'd like to review Rambo 2 and 3 before I do a ranking. So it's probably not going to be for a little while. Because I want to give 2 and 3 a fresh watch. Even though I've seen those movies quite a few times, I'm a Rambo fanatic. I love Rambo. So I could probably rank them for you. But I don't know. I want to review. My thing is I like to review all the movies before I put out a ranking. So I'm definitely going to review 2 and 3. Maybe within the next couple months. Probably after October. So I'll try to get a ranking out. Maybe like around when they release the Blu-ray of the new Rambo movie. Then I can get out 2 and 3. And then I'll put out a ranking. So, but yeah, I'm doing good, man. Nice to see you in here. So Ash just got teleported through time, and now he's like, "Where the hell am I?" And it's funny to look at like you can tell that these were filmed at 2 different times. This and Army of Darkness, because this scene, even though it's in the same location as Army of Darkness, movie-wise, it does look different. Definitely not as colorful. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call it and say next month we'll do Return of the Living Dead. Just make it easy. Next month for the Patreon commentary, we'll probably do Return of the Living Dead. I'm calling it. Because that is a fun-ass movie. Oh, the 4K for Cliffhanger. I have not thrown it in yet, but I will let you know as soon as I do throw it in what it looks like. Because Cliffhanger's, that's a big movie because that's the movie that really brought Stallone back for a little bit there. His career was kind of dying, and then all of a sudden in '93 he comes out with Cliffhanger. And I remember back then I just joined the Air Force, and I was like really, I was a Stallone fanatic, so I was happy that it was like my idol was coming back. And then he actually put out a good movie, Cliffhanger's a fun action movie. So I was really excited for it. But yeah, I can't wait for Return of the Living Dead 2. I love that movie so much. It might be my favorite zombie movie of all time. I love part 3 too, actually. That's it. We just finished up Evil Dead 2. This was a fun one. I wish I knew more about Evil Dead 2. I did do a little bit of research beforehand, but it is just a really simple movie. The whole movie takes place in this cabin, and you're just pretty much watching Ash, deal with all these elements that are around him. So, very simple. It's not one of those movies, I guess I guess you could call it a linear movie where, you know, there's different locations, different character motivations, the plot moves along. No, everything's kind of circular in Evil Dead 2. You know, it's chaos. That's what it is. Chaos going in a circle. That's what it is. There's no like forward movement, if that makes sense. So, still fun to discuss though. Still fun to kind of dissect Ash as a character. You know, like why. I mean, we all know why Ash is such an icon, and you know, there's just nobody else like Ash. So it's fun talking about Ash. That's the big thing. So, but this was really fun, and I thank you guys for stopping by. I had a blast doing this. And if you're watching this after the fact, I do these once a month with my patrons, and you know, we just have snacks and we talk about the movie, we talk about life, we talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's a really loose setting, but thank you guys so much for stopping by. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a great night, a great Wednesday night, and all the best to all you guys. That sounds silly. That sounds really silly. I'm never good at goodbyes. I hate goodbyes. Goodbyes are horrible. But Danny M, Robbie Sobel, Some Neat, thank you guys. And Leela, who's here, Beth S was here. So we had a nice little crowd. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a great night. And thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you guys next month for Return of the Living Dead. Can't wait. Have a good night, everybody.